What's good, Rizzle fam? It's your boy Big Man. See, M's former bodyguard thought there wasn't a reason to them to worry given that Suge had more of an issue with Fitty and Dre. But once you have a beef with Suge Knight, nobody around is safe. M spoke out on Suge and how he almost lost his life because of him. Suge Knight is one heck of a guy. He's a former record producer, music executive, and the co-founder of Death Row Records, which was once one of the most successful and influential labels in hip-hop music. Legendary hip-hop names like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Tupac all come to mind when you think Death Row Records and Suge Knight. He had a connection with all of them. But apart from his music, he's also known for his controversial and often violent behavior, both within the music industry and in his personal life. The examples of the things that might have seen him dangerous are countless, and he's considered somewhat of a boogeyman in the game. Suge Knight's controversial and often violent behavior has made him a notorious figure in the music industry. One of the most significant events that contributed to his infamy was his alleged involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Suge was with Shakur on the night that he was shot and killed, and many people believe that he played a role in the shooting. In addition to this, Suge had also been accused of numerous acts of violence and intimidation against people in the music industry and beyond. For example, he beat up Vanilla Ice's bodyguards and held him over a balcony until he signed over the rights to his hit song Ice Ice Baby to Suge's label. But that's far from all the violence that Suge committed. He also been convicted of various other crimes, including assault with a deadly weapon and domestic violence. Knight's association with the Bloods gang has fueled speculation that he has used his music industry connections to further the gang's interests. Add all these factors up, and you know why Suge got the reputation of a dangerous and controversial figure in the music industry. The fact that Eminem was on the come-up in the late 90s and early 2000s meant that he had to go over many obstacles. Among those was Suge Knight. Suge was known for intimidating anyone who he thought would come up in the rap game, and M was not excluded. Believe it or not, Suge Knight wanted M out of the picture very early, and he made several attempts to take his life. Suge has been accused of attempting to take out Eminem on 2 separate occasions. These allegations were brought to light by Eminem's former bodyguard, Byron Big Naz Williams, who claims that the first incident took place in 2001 during the Source Hip Hop Awards. Big Naz and M first met when Naz became involved with Eminem during the height of his success with My Name Is. Initially, Naz declined to offer to work with Eminem, but eventually agreed to give it a try. On the first night of working together, the speaker had to physically defend Eminem from a potential threat, which led to the offer of a touring position. Despite initially joining the team to get closer to music execs as a producer, Naz shifted to protecting Eminem's safety, becoming their top priority. During an interview with Murder Master Music Show, Byron Big Naz Williams elaborated on the incident that occurred at the Source Hip Hop Awards in 2001 involving Suge and his associates. As Big Naz claims, and many others also spoke about it, during the awards show, there was a strict guideline when it came to who was sitting where. A group of artists and bodyguards who had beef were not meant to sit close to one another. The tensions were high in the rap game at the time, and what the organizers was trying to avoid was rather obvious. They didn't want a full-on brawl taking place at an award show. The situation was unexpected and chaotic. Eminem and his crew thought that they were safe, not realizing that they were in the middle of a feud between Suge Knight's Death Row Records and Dr. Dre. When Eminem went to sit down in his seat, he was surrounded by a group of men in red shirts shouting Death Row's name and claiming that Suge had sent them to cause trouble. This caught everyone off guard and made them realize they were in danger. Big Naz intervened and alerted Dr. Dre and his bodyguards of the situation to ensure Eminem's safety. After the incident at the Source Hip Hop Awards, Big Naz was on high alert, and he took measures to ensure Eminem's safety during the remainder of the event. He also requested a car to be on standby in case of an emergency. But due to security protocols, the limos could only stay parked for a brief period in front of the red carpet. Consequently, Big Naz, Dr. Dre, and Dre's bodyguards had to remain on high alert backstage, watching out for any potential threats to Eminem's safety. Williams positioned himself in front of Eminem, ready to defend him at a moment's notice, while Dr. Dre and his bodyguards remained in beast mode to deter anyone from approaching. Eminem stood his ground though. Despite the tense and dangerous situation, M refused to back down. He showed guts by standing up to Suge Knight's goons, even though they were threatening him. This incident was the first of 2 alleged attempts on Eminem's life by Suge Knight, according to Big Naz. According to Big Nas, Suge Knight also attempted to harm Eminem during an event in Hawaii. Nas claims that they received word that Suge was looking to harm Eminem during the same event, so they had to be cautious and ensure that Eminem was protected at all times. Suge Knight had sent 50 men to Hawaii to try and break up Power 106 event that Dre and his team were supposed to attend. When they arrived in Hawaii, they were greeted by 20 Honolulu police officers who informed them of the situation. Big Nas and the other bodyguards had to quickly prepare for the worst, putting on bulletproof vests with their wives and girlfriends nearby. They had to rely on Interscope to cover the cost of having Honolulu police officers accompany them as extra security to the depth of Suge's influence in the area. Big Nas wasn't the only guy on duty who recalls what took place that time. Such was the case with Reggie Wright Jr. too. You know Reggie Wright Jr. was deep in death row business. He's a former police officer and security chief of Death Row Records. He's also the son of Reggie Wright Sr., who was a member of the Bloods gang and worked as the head of security for Death Row Records. So according to Reggie Wright Jr., Dre and company were headed to Power 106, part of a media run. The special promotion would allow fans of the radio station to win tickets for a private concert held in Hawaii. Reggie Wright Jr. got word of the plans and quickly told Suge Knight, who was doing time behind bars.
You know us, being young, dumb, and jealous. It's like, oh no, these niggas ain't going out to Hawaii and have a ball. It ain't happening on our watch.
And it just so happens that Reggie booked the same flight heading to Hawaii, which had Snoop, Dre, and Eminem on board. As explained by Reggie Wright Jr., those on the flight repping for Suge Knight gave hell to Snoop Dogg and even Battle Cat, a well-known music producer. Reggie also said,
and Snoop was back there, and Cool Rider and them was over there just torturing him the whole way. Spitting on him and all of that.
And in the end, Reggie also commented on the situation that took place between M and the rest of the bodyguards.
But now M and this bodyguard on there, so they terrorizing him on the flight. You know, they just being them young selves.
But at the end of the day, they all made it out alive and well. Fans sure are happy to know that nothing happened to M and others. Shout out to Dre and Snoop for overcoming those adversities. Congrats to Dre, M, and Snoop for getting away from these narcissistic, jealous haters full of envy and anger. Reggie and his team got into trouble when their interference in a security matter reached Jimmy Levine, who was the head of Interscope Records and a good friend of Dr. Dre. Levine was angry because of the high cost of providing security for Dre, Snoop, and Eminem in Hawaii. Upon landing, Reggie's son claimed that Eminem and his bodyguard ran off the plane before anyone else and were escorted home by the LAPD. The LAPD couldn't do anything about the situation as Reggie's team hadn't done anything wrong. Nothing came out of Suge's attempt to take out Eminem. Given the power that Suge had at the time, he wanted to control almost anyone who he could. But M, Fitty, and Snoop just wouldn't give in like that. A lot of time has passed since Suge tried to establish dominance in the rap game. However, folks can't help but compare where Suge and Eminem are right now. As y'all already know, Suge is serving time behind bars, and it's up for debate whether or not he'll ever come out. All that influence he once had was wasted away, and nothing good came out of it. On the other hand, Eminem made one of the most successful rap careers, and still holds the title of GOAT, according to many, and made it to the very top of the rap game. People felt a certain type of way about the fact that Suge came very close to taking out M. And if that happened, who knows what the rap game would look like today. One comment said, now Suge can't even afford to send 50 preschoolers to the zoo. And another one, thank God Eminem is still alive. What's y'all's take on the situation between M and Suge? What was the main reason that Suge wanted M out the picture? Did he know even back then that M would take the world by storm and make one of the most dominant rap figures of our time? Let us know about it down in the comments section below.